And CEO, DCM Shriram, Mr. Roshan Lal Tamak to make his way to the stage. Our next speaker is
to this second session of the day. Without much ado, I would request Mr. Roshan Lal Tamak to begin his presentation. And then we can go to the question and answer, and I'll throw a few questions to everybody on the panel. Please, sir.
Good afternoon. At the outset, I shall like to express my sincere thanks to Chini for organizing this conference. And I sincerely believe that participants from all across the states and geographies will be enjoying this chilly winter in Delhi. So, enough has been discussed in the session today, and as this topic suggests that we need to discuss Chini Nivesh pe Charcha, means dialogue on investment in sugar sector. So I shall remain focused on this subject only and like to share my thoughts. Okay, first of all, I shall like to touch upon various trends which we are witnessing and experiences, and these trends are macro trends. I have tried to shortlist the trends which are more relevant to our sector and what is the significance of these trends as far as our sector is concerned. So first and foremost, climate change. Climate change is a reality, and the magnitude, the impact and the frequency of climate change and weather events we are experiencing on daily basis. And it is impacting our all spheres of life every day. Second is conflicts, particularly geopolitical tension. And these strifes and tensions, geopolitical tensions, are also a new norm, and here also the frequency of these tensions and strifes have increased manifold during the recent years. Recent scenario is Ukraine war. Nobody had imagined that this war will continue for so long. So it has its own impact on the food supply, energy security and supply chain as a whole. Third is consumer awareness. Consumer by and large is reasonably more aware, particularly related to the environmental issues. So now particularly the younger generation, which are our consumer currently also and going forward also, they will be our enlightened consumers, more aware consumer. So they are more conscious towards the products which they buy. They want to ascertain that from where this product has been sourced, whether it has been produced from responsible practices or what is the source of the product. So there is a clear-cut trend, maybe all across the globe, this trend is not that clear, but sooner or later this is definitely a trend, and this will be more clearer in the times to come. Next is compliances. Policymakers and regulators are becoming more stringent day by day, and particularly related to these aspects, this environment related regulations and concerns. These are clearly reflected and in the policies, in the regulations, in the laws, and enforcement also has been very, very stricter. Next is consciousness. Consciousness means in general, the public also. There is a lot more consciousness and awareness towards environmental concern in the larger public as well. And in the last, commitment of policy makers and corporate leadership, both. Means political leadership and corporate leadership, there is a clear trend. And we have witnessed this in COP27, where it started from Paris Accord, and we have clearly seen that nations and corporates have committed themselves to certain goals. And this is clearly a trend because the concern is very much there, and accordingly the action will be also be there, and people have evolved their scientific based targets, just like in case of India also. Our Honorable Prime Minister has also publicly stated that what is our goals as far as net zero is concerned. Now comes the specifically touching upon the sugar sector. Sugar sector, as has been told, and we are very well aware that for a country of our magnitude, approximately 28 to 30 million ton is our consumption. And cane price on annual basis, particularly in India, we need to be very much cognizant of this very fact that about 55 million families are dependent on sugarcane cultivation. If you multiply by 4, there is about 220 million, means equivalent to Brazil population. Our sugarcane smallholders are attached to sugarcane. So we should understand the impact and scale of sugarcane cultivation, and particularly smallholders. Approximately more than 1.20 lakh crores annual cane price payment is being paid by the industry, and in US terms it is about $14 billion. Ethanol, as told by the Joint Secretary, Additional Secretary also in the previous session, approximately more than 300 crore liter ethanol is being supplied. And this is a very clear fact that sugarcane is and will remain the mainstay of ethanol blending program, as currently about 85% of the ethanol is produced out of sugarcane based feedstock only. Green power, more than 3,000 megawatt is being exported, which is clearly renewable power and green power, and from well distributed cogen plants. More than 500,000 workers are directly related to sugarcane sector, which are directly and meaningfully employed in this sector, means huge employee base. And in the last, I have already touched that about 50 million families are dependent on sugarcane cultivation. So it clearly shows that how significant this sector is for India. Now, coming to this very topic, that because how investments will happen in this sector and how growth will happen and why growth will happen in this sector. These few examples are these salient features are clearly defining that. First and foremost, sugar industry is a classical example of circular economy. Here every product, byproduct is being utilized for value addition and for some good purpose. So that is not relevant in case of other industries. So this is very basic difference as far as this industry is concerned. And this industry is inherently green. So we are talking of greening the sector, we are talking of greening the economy, but this sector is a wonderful sector because greening is inherent in this sector. Second is the largest sector in food processing sector. You can see the landscape of agriculture in India, and in India there are two pathways as far as agriculture is concerned. One is food processing and second is bioenergy sector, which can revolutionize agriculture sector. And incidentally, sugar industry is well placed to serve both these purposes. So that way, for a country like India, where agrarian economy is still dominant, therefore, this sector can play a very, very vital role in the times to come. It is already a source of, we all know that bioenergy, we are already the bioenergy park. Some of our dear friends call bioenergy park. Definitely so. We are already there. And now in the times to come, what will happen? These can become the food processing hubs as well, along with bioenergy complex. And India is gifted for having so many plants. Let's take it positively. More than 500 plants, well-built complexes. These are well-built complexes, well-distributed, such a robust network of manufacturing facilities right located in the hinterland. No other country has such a beautiful network of sugar complexes. And next is, in the last, we have a very robust ecosystem of academic institutes, research institutes, and technology providers as well. India is a net importer of good technology all across the globe, and Indian industry is the most efficient as far as technology is concerned. So given this enabling ecosystem, this country, this sector holds great, immense potential to grow. This is the point which I wanted to highlight. And above all, this sector provides a very beautiful platform for a sustainable, robust and distributed growth all across the country. So that is also a beauty. And now comes the question that what is the headroom for growth, which exactly is the topic of this discussion. What is the headroom? So for understanding the headroom of growth, we should be cognizant of these facts. One, India is the 5th largest economy globally. And we are proud of that. And that too, the fastest growing economy. What does it mean? It opens so many avenues of growth and opportunities for the entire sector. Total ethanol blending program, already government has mandated, targeted 20% blending target. We are at 10, means additional quantity has to be met for ethanol for this purpose. And somebody was pointing out in the forenoon session that why blending target cannot be increased. It can be increased and it should be increased. Particularly for a growing economy like India, where energy demand is so much, and this energy demand will increase in the times to come. The topic will be digressed if I touch upon certain issues, certain trends like urbanization, car penetration. If you compare this car penetration and urbanization for a similar country like China, you will be astonished with the facts and figures. So that is the scope of growth. And all these sectors are clear indicator of more and more energy consumption. And energy consumption, that to bioenergy. And sugar industry is the main contributor to bioenergy. Like for example, these 3 areas, our crude import. Perhaps I don't know the exact numbers, but perhaps we are the largest importer of crude globally. That too in the 122 billion US dollar we import annually. And natural gas also we import such a huge quantity. And potassic fertilizer even for agriculture purposes. We are the largest importer. And majorly we import this quantity. So all these feedstocks or all these products are a clear indication of the magnitude and scale of these products, that there is so much scope of growth in all these areas. But now the question happens. Now the question is that what we need to do. Because success of any idea lies in execution. What we need to do and how we shall be doing that. So next slide, my last slide is for that only. Before that, just wanted to touch upon this part. Government has a very good set of policies and programs to support this ecosystem. Like ethanol blending program, we have already touched and we are fully aware. Satat program is picking up for bio-CNG. Renewable program is already in place. And very recently this National Hydrogen Mission, Green Hydrogen Mission has been launched. And the overall objective of the government is Atmanirbhar Bharat. So now the question comes that what is our role? And in our role means there are different set of stakeholders. And there is a definitive, actionable and deliverable by all stakeholders. Let's touch one by one. First of all, it starts from cane, because sugar cane is the heart of sugar sector. And if we ignore sugar cane, you can very well imagine if we ignore our heart, what will happen to our body. So for cane, first and foremost is breeding program. We need to have varieties like CO238. We have experienced the change. We need such pipeline of good varieties which are game changer, which are good for farmers, which are good for industry, and for the win-win for everybody. So for that, we need to do a lot of activities. Government is cognizant of that, researchers are cognizant of that, but this is definitely has to be in the top of the agenda because that is the base of everything. Second, mechanization. We always see that younger generation is not attracted towards agriculture. Obviously so. Temperatures are rising, labor scarcity is not there, that human drudgery is there, and cost of operations is also increasing. So what is the way out? Way out is only and only mechanization. So for ensuring ease of doing agriculture, mechanization is must. And for that a framework has to be put into place like custom hiring model so that mechanization is available to all the stakeholders, the smallholders at a competitive cost and easily. Second is water conservation. Water conservation is a natural resource which has to be conserved by adopting lot of practices and in the entire value chain, in farm side also, in factory side also. So there is a need, there is a acute need that we take all possible steps to conserve water in growing sugarcane and processing sugarcane as well. Next is focus on yield and recovery. These are constant because volume and recovery both can make or break any business. So therefore, if we adopt all those practices which I have listed above, and besides that good agronomic practices, we can ensure volume and recovery. Now comes the factory side, an extreme left side, resource use efficiency. Basically, sugar manufacturing process consumes a lot of energy in terms of power, in terms of steam. Therefore, there is an acute requirement that we work continuously and consistently and systematically to reduce steam consumption and power consumption in our operations. That will give us competitive advantage. But how to do that? We need to collaborate with all the technology providers and R&D and innovation, which is lacking presently in our sector. That should be the focus area. And after that, digitalization and machine learning, AI, machine learning, all these new age technologies should also be put into practice. We should try to embed technology into all our operations so that we can achieve the highest level of efficiencies. Now comes this value addition part. Value addition I have briefly touched, but just to summarize it again and just to refresh again, because this is the clear pathway for prosperity, viability and growth in all these areas, right from sugar value add, bagasse value add, bioenergy, we are talking of ethanol as well as bio-CNG. Biochemical is the next future of ethanol-based chemicals. So that is also a pathway of growth. And biofertilizer, out of bio-CNG, out of breast mud, there are multiple pathways by which biomanures will be produced. And distillery ash as well. And then food processing. Food processing, I should like to touch upon very, very specifically. Because as of that, as I mentioned that bioenergy, that status we have already achieved and we are transitioning from sugar complexes to bioenergy hubs very, very clearly, and that is more or less established. But how can we become food processing hub? And why sugar industry is uniquely placed and positioned to develop as a food processing hub? Because of 3-4 simple reasons. One, we have already developed supply chain with the growers. We have already knowledge of agriculture. We have manufacturing skills. We have marketing skills. We have power. We have infrastructure. So everything we have. And moreover, there is a credibility of the farmer, credibility of the corporates, whose factory is situated right in the hinterland. And with growers we have a 365 days, 24/7 engagement, that to seamless engagement. Therefore, who is better placed than us to work as a food processor, to act as a food processor? So all these value addition possibilities is absolutely there. And my dear friends, until unless we differentiate and we diversify, we cannot make our business defensible. This is very clear. To make our business defensible, we need to work on differentiation and diversification. And that is the That should be our motto, that should be our objective. And in the downside, there comes the policy. And policy we have seen in case of ethanol blending program as well. So how a policy can transform the whole sector. Therefore, policy assurance and predictability is absolutely must. As we have experienced in ethanol blending program, and now we are experiencing in Southern program also. There are a lot of policy changes the government is doing, and that's why the program is picking up. So therefore, policy assurance and predictability is absolutely must, particularly for this sector. Rational cane pricing and linkage with sugar price, because that remains the main product of this sector. Second is remunerative cogent tariff. Here some work needs to be done by different states, because currently there are some issues in certain states where the tariff has been reduced. Third is viable price for juice to ethanol. And here I would like to touch upon very, very specifically. As on date, we produce about 6 to 8 million ton sugar additional, which is surplus. And if we just convert this sugar into ethanol, so 20% blending is lying on the platter. But we need to work out very clearly what is holding us back. So therefore, if objective appraisal of the whole thing has to be done, so that this stream also picks up quickly. And in the last, Model Land Leasing Act adoption. Because this land is being fragmented, land holdings are getting divided, and until unless mechanization is adopted and investment into agriculture is not done, productivity cannot go up. For that, Model Land Leasing Act has been formulated by Niti Aayog, which need to be replicated and adopted by all states to make agriculture more efficient and more productive. With all these words, I very well say that sugar sector is poised for growth, and it will attract lot of investment in the times to come, which our esteemed panelists will be touching upon. With all these words, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tamak. This lovely presentation. You've covered, I think, all the topics. I think we can all just go home now. Thank you. It was very, very comprehensive. I love the bit about sustainable, inclusive and distributive growth that a sugar mill brings to any location. In the old days, 30, 40 years ago, people would say, put a sugar factory, any area you want developed, you put a sugar factory there and it automatically will develop. Now you're talking further down and you're now talking of food processing hubs. I think that's a great thing. One thing I wanted to touch upon, and I think the expert on that is Vijendra Singh ji, is ethanol. I mean, you've spent a lot of time in ethanol. Why are we not seeing the kind of juice to ethanol production capacity coming up now? We're seeing a huge increase in ethanol capacity, but we are not seeing, it's all coming from B and C molasses and not directly from juice. Would it not make more sense, like in Brazil, to go directly from juice?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think it's more of a commercial issue today. The sugar prices in UP is better than ethanol produced from the juice. So North UP mills are hesitant to convert juice to syrup. In Maharashtra, Karnataka, it is the other way around. Sugar is less numerative than ethanol, juice ethanol. And in both the states, lot of distilleries are coming up and is being aggressively converted to ethanol. I think this is a matter of concern for the policymaker. They should find a way that UP also start converting sugar to ethanol. Otherwise, as the sugar production will go up, the price of sugar may drop down and they become the way around.
So the automatic valve doesn't really kick in here as of now, like it does in Brazil.
Just to complement the Brazilian model is very simple. We decide there how much sugar to produce, how much ethanol to produce, depend upon the price. So if sugar price is better, we produce more sugar. If ethanol is better, we produce more ethanol. But India is both side is highly regulated, is not marketable like Brazil. So it's difficult here to follow that model. It takes time. I believe that we go there sooner.
Okay, thank you, sir. Pankajji, I want to come to you. You are, I think, probably the only company which I would call a pan-Indian company. You, a few years ago, made your first investment, I mean, traditionally being a UP miller, made your first investment in Maharashtra, and then followed it up with another one, and probably looking at more, which we will not discuss because it's we're not talking non-policy, internal issues. But what has your experience been in running mills in Maharashtra? Has there been some cross-fertilization between the two areas? Has it been good? Has it been bad? What's the experience?
Yeah, thanks, Yatin. I think when we went out from UP to Maharashtra, it was more of a compulsion than, UP at that point of time was not looking particularly good, the industry. So definitely when we were looking out for growth opportunities, when we were looking out for expanding capacities, Maharashtra did seem to be a better bet, and that's the reason that Maharashtra, we were looking at Karnataka also, some part of North Karnataka, but eventually, Maharashtra happened. So, as we went along, this was in 2012 that we went into Maharashtra. As we went along, what happened was that, our experience has been that there was some kind of a natural hedge which was provided between UP and Maharashtra. One state was doing well, the other state was not doing so well, so we were able to, we were one of the companies who were able to hedge our results, hedge our volumes. So that is something which happened. In terms of learning, there were a lot of learnings which were there when we went to Maharashtra for the first time. We had if you would know that we had a recovery of 30.69 that year. This was the highest. We had never seen so much of sugar in, we didn't know how to handle that sugar. So it was coming out all over the place, into the pipelines, into all these. So there is something, the peak recovery reached 15. So, I think operations-wise, we transferred a lot of UP operations were highly efficient. They were organized to be because of the cost structure. They were organized to be highly energy efficient. Maharashtra was not so efficient in terms of the cost of production were more, processes were inefficient. So we transferred a lot of learnings from UP units in terms of energy efficiencies, in terms of operational efficiencies to Maharashtra. Maharashtra, one thing that we've been wanting to transfer from Maharashtra to UP is the practices on cane. Of course, there are restrictions around that. There are government regulations, there are state cane acts which do not permit. But, my own view is that, the way the harvesting operations are run in Maharashtra is a much more efficient method than UP. That's part of the reason for high recovery. So we, in limited ways, we have tried and we have tried and transfer some of this knowledge. But as I said, it's only can be done only in a limited way because of the regulations. So overall, yes, as a business, we have benefited from, transfer of ideas from one place to other place. In terms of the markets, we've been able to not only in terms of otherwise the top line or whatever you say, but I think in terms of the markets also, we've been able to hedge our bets and the kind of the export market, the domestic market. So there definitely there is
access to the ports.
Yeah, locational advantage which has been there. And yes, going forward, I don't know, I can't comment on
Thank you.
What does the future look like?
It's been fruitful, you would say. Going pan-India, it's been fruitful.
Yeah, it's been.
Thank you, sir. We now come to the next two panelists who are literally Gen Next in the sugar industry. The young Turks, Vijay and Avantika. Thank you for joining us today. Vijay, this first question is to you. You've gone from being a single unit to now, 8, 9 sugar units. the largest ethanol producer in the country in the next couple of months. You should be hitting that. You're getting into various other sustainable. What's driven it? I mean, what's been it's been a very short period for your growth. What's driven that growth, please?
At the outset, thank you so much for having us here. And a big shout out to Chini Mandi. I think this truly is a fantastic conference. So probably more than almost all of the Indian millers are here. It's a massive conference that they have done. So big shout out to them. And of course, like you said, when I joined in, it's a very interesting story. Right? Back in 2015, the day I joined, sugar prices had fallen to 18 rupees a kilo. And our cane prices were 32 rupees a kilo. And that was the time when for the last 3 or 4 years, 16, 17, 18, 19 was, we all know how we passed through that, especially in the South region. Like Roshan sir mentioned, there are 3 major pillars for any sector to rise. That is technology, market and policy. We're so lucky at least we got to see all the difficult parts, and in 2019, 18-19 was when policy came in. And the biofuel policy was a game changer. In absolute true meaning, the biofuel policy put the sugar sector to become so glamorous that in true senses we have been invited everywhere, and if you say you're a sugar miller, you're looked at with so much of respect now. Earlier you say you're a sugar miller, they would say, I'm sorry for you.
I can agree with that.
So today we are literally like Sir Roshan sir just mentioned, we have such amazing, we have not even touched the tip of the iceberg yet. The kind of forward integrations that we can do in this sector is unimaginable. Gadkari sahab hamesha, he keeps saying that in this sector, even your wildest of thoughts, you cannot limit yourself. The forward integrations that you can do, because you've got all the basic raw material. Energy, you've got energy in all forms. Be it gas, be it ethanol, be it power, be it sugar, be it alcohol. It's energy in all forms. So this sector is phenomenal, and the group, I mean, I was again lucky. So I've had that 4 years of bad timing. And then we saw this policy come in, and I think we capitalized on this policy, and whichever units are coming, I mean, we're trying to get, which are sick at least, and which are closed. So we're trying to restart them so that the local economy develops there. And I think, see, as a sugar miller, we have a great responsibility for the planet. We are supposed to be one of the most sustainable businesses that can be in any business, because we can utilize every tidbits that is generated. Every product can be utilized to form multiple of products further. Bagasse can be used to form 10 or 12 products. Then there is molasses can be used to form multiple products. Then of course sugar, there are multiple products. Forward integrations are there. So I think this sector is at its peak now. So I mean, there is, I think this is the best time, which is exactly why we have been expanding. I think the whole ecosystem has been very kind to us. The market, the policy coming in at the right time, and many units that are there. So we saw the opportunity, and we are trying to capitalize on it and set up these plans.
Great. And sustainability is your mantra these days.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And then Avantika. Thank you for joining us. Heading Balrampur, I mean, you expanded like crazy in the mid and early 2010s, and then you've plateaued. But at the same time, you've gone into other sides. I mean, you were doing ethanol, you're doing cogen, you're doing downstream products. What has been your experience, coming in, and also, again, I'm going to ask you another question corollary to that. Any thoughts about going to Karnataka, Maharashtra? Is there something in the back of your mind? I mean, you don't need to tell us if it's price sensitive on the stock market, but what are your thoughts on that area?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, now. So I think if I am to touch upon the first topic, what is my experience? It's been a roller coaster to say the least. I think I entered at the time when everything was up and up in terms of policy. I didn't see the bad time. So I think I might have a slightly jaded perception. I think I might be too bullish on everything. But I really do believe one of the things, I think also Vijay mentioned that the world is our oyster at this point. I've said it before, I think I say it everywhere, but I think that sugarcane is the new oil. If we are to Google the possibilities that are with oil and just equate it to sugarcane, honestly, there is hundreds and hundreds of things which are going to be disruptors, game changers. I think the industry is poised in a way that we could have exponential impact, not just in terms of the ethanol policy. I think everybody is trying to say it, but nobody is able to really convey with the, neither am I think, with the positivity that we have for the industry. There are so many ideas just even on the stage right now. If we were to, I think we would have 5 different ideas each as to how well the sector can do, what are the possibilities. So my experience is just really, really great. Forward integration is one thing, but also, within our units, when we talk about efficiency and we talk about sustainability, we are working very, very hard towards sustainability within the units. So, whether it's zero water extraction, that's the new goal for us. Sugarcane is 70% water. So we, during season, want to have zero water extraction because we want to utilize the water that we can get from the cane itself, make it more sustainable, give it more importance, give back to the circular economy that Tamak Saab mentioned as well. So it's honestly, I think I've come in at a time where we've been touched with the, Midas touch.
The money is easy. Money is easy. Talking of money, we come to...
Then about expansion to other parts of the country.
Yeah, please, go.
I think honestly we've just completed massive expansion and we need to hold our horses, take 2 steps back in order to maybe leap again.
Right.
So right now that's where we are. But if things change, I think the Chini Mandi will know and they will let everybody know.
So consolidation is where it is.
Just handling what we've already put out there.
Right. And then, as I said, talking of money, we come 5 years ago, as I think everybody was saying, even Vijay confirmed it, that, between 2000 and 2015, 16, the sugar industry was going through financially was not the baby of the stock market. But if you look at least sugar stock prices in the last 3-4 years, I mean, they've multiplied. They've gone up manifold.
Thank you, Chini Mandi, for bringing this conference to this side of North India in this chilly winter. I would like to start with money word. I would like to replace with cost. And this, the C word of cost, I would like to give it to Tamak Saab for his good presentation, whether you notice or not. Major trade of first light, all started with C. So request him to add C, cost, the 7, like the 7th color, the 7 rainbow ke saath color, the 7 sargam ke saath sur. So it will make your that major trade part complete. The 7th C is the cost, the balance sheet part you are talking about. So traditionally, my friend, everybody present here, no. Like the sugar cycle used to be of very long cycle, say 5 years, 2 years, good, where bankers are running after us, neutral year, then 1 year, then 2 year back, where we run after the bank, we were running after the banks. So yes, the game has got changed after the introduction of this ethanol blending program after 2014-15 probably, and that's the year you'll see. If you see the trend from that year till now, you'll see a substantial change in that is represented, as you mentioned, in the stock prices of sugar companies. So what I believe, ethanol program made the balance sheet of the sugar companies sustainable. I would use the word sustainable, not the stronger. We have become sustainable, balance sheet have become sustainable, the industry has started using any penny of money which is just like any other resource, like sugar is a capital intensive industry where money is to be used very prudently, just like any other resource like sugar cane efficiently. So industry is now making capexes, expanding that part very efficiently, prudently, in the sense like capexes are happening but not in a big way, staggered manner. Sugar capacities are being increased in 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 KCD forms. Ethanol program is again implemented by the government, but the industry taking very conscious step because of the challenges as mentioned by Mr. Tamak. Yes. So the ethanol program, which I believe, if you see the last cycle, better? Yeah, better. So if you remember the 2007-8 period, the change made in this era is because of ethanol that earlier was by cogen. If you remember 2007, 8, 9, 10, though there are changes on that front in cogen part, but what I personally believe is the ethanol blending program which made the balance sheet sustainable for longer time. Industry is using the money in a pragmatic way. So that's it.
Thank you for actually touching on cogeneration. I mean, this is a question again I will put to probably Mr. Tamak this time. Cogen was the star in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Now nobody talks of cogen. I mean, we only say, okay, we've done 3,000 megawatts of cogeneration. There's no new money going into cogen. It's reached a plateau. We've seen government bodies renege on contracts. I mean, in the south, we've seen a few contracts being reneged on. What's your view? I mean, do you think if there will be more investment in cogeneration? What is actually required to restart that growth?
So I had touched upon this issue in my presentation also. And here comes the policy. Because predictability of policy and policy assurance is the key for any investment. And this reversal is, or stagnation is, I can say very clearly that due to change in the energy landscape, solar has come, wind has come, so that is there. And above all, that tariff reduction has happened in many states. That is a clear signal. Investors are not encouraged. Because people have invested already, and therefore nobody is investing as far as process requirement is concerned, because we are putting up a plant, so process requirement is there. So that way people will be encouraged to set up highly efficient system. That's fine. But it is not a attraction as on date.
So we're looking, your lack of policy stability is one of the
Yes.
one of the main pain points.
Yes.
I'd like to throw the panel open to questions from the floor. I think we've got one question there. We take a couple of questions. Harsh, get a mic there. You'll come up here.
Thank you, sir. My question to the panel is, we've been talking about...
Who would like to... Vijendra ji.
I think there are two phases. One phase, current phase, where we have 6-7 million sugar surplus, need to be converted to ethanol and giving about 20% blending of the country. Totality one is converted. And I think we are moving very fast in the direction as the industry is putting a lot of capacity necessary. What is beyond this situation that Sony at this point, right? I think we have to find some ways, and industry is very dynamic, and we have been understanding ourselves earlier also. UP was 6 million, earlier UP produced 6 million of sugar only. Today UP is producing 20 million, 12 million. So something will happen like this only. Some of the states like Bihar, Odisha, they start growing cane. Cane for ethanol, that I think I need to coin this term now here. Cane for ethanol will come. forget sugar, then no link to sugar to the. So the plant will come like already UP have one plant. Though they are not producing sugar, they are producing ethanol only. So sugar will take the back seat, ethanol will come to the front seat.
Thank you, sir.
And just to supplement what Vijendra is mentioned, see, ultimately, economic viability of any particular product leads to growth. This is the fundamental principle. Farmers are getting their cane price timely. Factories are interested in increasing their volumes. They are putting a lot of hard work in mechanization, good agronomic practices. That enabling ecosystem is there, their cane is crushed timely. And above all, we have seen it during last 3 years, what has been the cane production. Who had imagined that Maharashtra will be producing so much? So, our cane production is quite stable and has increased drastically. The basic reason is that people are doing a lot of field work as far as factories are concerned. Good varieties have come in, getting cane price payment timely, and it is being consumed very efficiently and smoothly, and it will increase.
Anybody else want to take that? Vijay, Avantika, I think everybody is going to respond to this one. Huh?
East UP definitely has headroom as well. That's the place I know I can comment about East UP for sure.
I'll tell you a very interesting take on this point for our group. So Bagalkot is the second largest sugar producing district in Karnataka.
Right.
So the capacities of the district every year is increasing because the yield per acre is increasing. So every year what we discuss, every plant is going for expansion. At least 20%, 20%, 20%, every year they're going for expansion. Everybody sits in the boardroom and says, where will the sugarcane come from? And magically it is coming. So when we start setting up capacities or when we start expanding, the farmers are also becoming equally talented to increase their efficiency.
Yeah, excellent.
I think just wanted to add to this. You're right, there will be some point of time, when this situation will arise, but I think we still have a lot of headroom available. Yield is an area where in UP a lot of work still needs to be done. UP, if you see the difference in yield between smaller and marginal farmers and vis-a-vis the progressive farmers, the yield difference is substantial. So there is a lot of work to be done. So headroom will come from there. But apart from the cane, the value addition, what do we have? We have biomass. And from this biomass, the possibilities are, there are a lot of technologies which are already commercially viable, okay, or on the verge of becoming commercially viable. There are technologies which are at a lab stage, on track. They'll be at some point of time, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. Who knows? The sugar industry can be one of the largest suppliers of green hydrogen. Who knows? We have renewable power available with us. We have biomass. We have other sources. So still there is a lot of, in terms of everything in terms of the entire bioenergy complex, a lot of headroom still available.
Thank you. One last question here. Do we have a mic down here? Quick, please. Two questions, very quick.
Yes.
You can take mine.
Thank you. HPS Ward here. My question for ethanol. It's a very nice presentation by Mr. Tamak, and thanks to him. The ethanol, we are moving towards the ethanol 25% to 20% blending. Last time I had been to Punjab. I've seen that lot of grain, domestic grain, which is used for human consumption, that is being diverted to this grain-based distilleries. Because standalone distilleries are coming up, say 500 KLPD, 400 KLPD, 300 KLPD, and a lot of that. So my question is whether this standalone distilleries and ethanol blending, when we based on grain based, it will be sustainable or it will cause any problem due to this domestic diversion of grain towards that ethanol. So Mr. Tamak or Vijendra Singh, any question you have, I know.
You just give it, if you can just
say longer run, it is to be seen on longer run.
But it is a very good question, and I agree with you. The grain distilleries are not sustainable long term, because there will be a fight for food and liquor. Anyway, liquor produced on grain will be used anyway for human consumption. That is a separate issue. So there will be a fight somewhere. But as you said earlier, don't underestimate the farmers. Grain production will also go up as the price of grain will go up, and new technique will come in there also.
Great, thank you. Quickly.
Yeah, I'm Sanjay, MD from Maharashtra State Cooperative Sugar Factories Federation. We have all the stalwarts over here sitting. We're talking a lot about the doomsday for cogeneration. I also represent the Cogeneration Association of India. Now, one of the important issues is at the policy level. I believe you have very strong associations of the solar and wind, where they are putting up their issues in the real perspective and ensuring that the policy initiatives are getting tuned to their requirements. We have people from UP, Karnataka, all the small words included. My direct question is, why is it that the sugar industry, in terms of the cogeneration projects, is not able to come under one umbrella and become a strong representative body to take up issues with the government of India? Because, just a few months back we had held the National Cogeneration Awards in Mumbai, and one of the issues that we had discussed with the Joint Secretary Biomass was regarding the competitive bidding process and the ceiling limits for cogeneration tariffs while bidding. So the latest what has happened is, the Wind Energy Association has got a socio-economic assessment report done, on the basis of which the ceiling limits have been removed in terms of the competitive bidding for wind. Is it possible that the sugar industry can also come up with the entire cogeneration under one umbrella and see whether we can make a good difference with the government of India and come out of this sad state of affairs which the cogeneration is now facing?
So I think on behalf of the industry, Sanjay sir, a big kudos to you, because you are doing great work through Cogen Association. You are right, we should all come together and put more pressure. See, there's a very interesting take, sir. I think what we discussed last time also in Mumbai is, now wind and solar is a lot of talk. So there is wind, solar, they keep speaking of it. Wind and solar, see, there is, especially in Karnataka, we have got this, they require for energy. They have clubbed cogen, they have clubbed wind, they have clubbed solar, everything. So Karnataka has 63% of renewable energy. So they are saying we are already crossed our limit. Now our presentation for this is cogen is the most efficient power source, because we are not bringing out to build the solar panels. There's again a cost and there is an expense to the whole ecosystem that is there. But for cogen, for steam we are producing power, so we should have a separate base for this. So also on the contrary, we have all seen this. Last year, I think Karnataka had the PPAs were all over, so most of the units, the PPA weren't renewed. It was a blessing in disguise for us. We could sell it in open access, and the power rates went up to 18 rupees a unit. I think Vijendra sir remembers that. We had it good for a good 7 days. Then they had to cap that price also to 12 rupees. I think there is absolutely, in my perspective, there is no doomsday to cogen. So cogen has a very bright future. I think policy level, you're very, very right in saying that we should all come, be a part and put appropriate pressure. So I think there's a big revenue we're losing.
Thank you, Vijay. One very last question, very quickly, then I'll sum up. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
600 million people are not having drinking water. Okay. Number two, sugarcane consumes 70% highest water. In the official report submitted by NABARD and Agrier, again. My question is, other parts of the world, sea water is being converted. It is treated and converted into drinking water. Why can't the sugar industry take up jointly such a program?
Avantika, I want to take that very quickly.
Yeah, so we are already working towards treating water to make it drinkable. This is also a zero water extraction goal that we've set for ourselves. So this is happening. I think it's not just us. I think other people are also doing it. The industry is working towards it already. There is no, this will come.
Just to address your part of sugarcane, I think there is a need to view it differently. What is the water consumption per unit area, per unit time and per unit value it generates? It needs to be understood in that perspective. Secondly, where various industry players are taking action to conserve water on large scale by adopting good agriculture practices. A lot of good work is happening at many places in this sector. Just for information.
Thank you, sir.
Just to add one more thing on this. I mean, sugar industry, as Avantika and Tamak have said, is moving towards zero drawl of water. I mean, what is coming through sugarcane to the factory, that is being recirculated in a process improvements are there, water treatment technology advancement are there. So with those things available now and people started using that, zero liquid discharge distilleries are being put up now. So we are moving towards zero drawl water from the underground water, right? So we are moving, we have taken a step, industry has taken a step in this direction, I believe. Seawater use, maybe logistically, I don't know how feasible is that.
I think that's another whole topic. Well, thank you very much to all the panelists. Thank you for your time. Thank you for, well, I know I troubled you at the beginning. The message, I think, for the audience is that, you know, sugar is rocking. I mean, you know, everybody wants to put money into the sugar business. All the best. All the best for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to all. The felicitation ceremony will take place. To do so, please help me welcoming on the stage the Managing Director, National Federation of Cooperative Sugar Factories, Mr. Prakash Nayak Naure. Let's welcome sir with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us Mr. Prakash Nayak Naure. Sir will be felicitating our speakers first. Let us start with Mr. Roshan Tamak, who is ED and CEO, DCM Shriram. Let's hear it loud, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Let us now felicitate Executive Director, Shree Renuka Sugars Limited, Mr. Vijendra Singh. Without further ado, we will felicitate the Chief Executive Officer, Dalmia Bharat Sugar and Industries Limited, Mr. Pankaj Rastogi. Right after this, we have to felicitate the Managing Director, MRN Group, Mr. Vijay Nirani. Right after it, we are felicitating promoter Balrampur Chini Mills, Miss Avantika Saraogi. Now it's time to felicitate the CFO, Dhampur Bioorganics Limited, Mr. Nalan Gupta. Let us now felicitate our moderator for this session, Director, Gradient Commercial Private Limited, Mr.Yatin, Wadhwana. Photographs done for both the days. And with this, we have Shivani Rai, who will be making a very